Hello, welcome. Thank you for coming and learning about all my screw-ups. I'm very excited to meet you all. My name is Sharon McMullen. I'm the owner and creative director of Ink & Mortar. It's a graphic and web design studio here in Philadelphia. My business is 2.5 years old now, and it has been the rockiest, most rewarding ride I've ever been on. Thank God my fiance is still with me for all of the ups and downs I've been through. But I'm now at the point after 2 years that things are really flowing and things are really great, and I'm getting a lot more money, I'm getting a lot more great work, and I'm no longer worried about the ups and downs of entrepreneurial life. So what I learned though in this whole process was there was a ton of stuff I could have done at my day job to help make the transition much smoother when going into my full-time freelance or agency work. So a little about me. As I said, I own Ink & Mortar Design Company, and we specialize in a lot of handmade bringing to web. And my favorite part, so I come from anthropology. That was my day job, which I'll get into in a little bit. So you can see a little bit of that in my aesthetic. I do a lot of ink, I do watercolor. Here's some of our work to kind of show you. It's a lot of handmade and textures, bringing handcrafted elements. That's my handwriting. So I do a lot of ink. This is more. So before I did all this, my day job was very different, and I had a lot of free time I didn't realize I had at the time. I thought I was so busy working so much, and then I quit my job and realized what really working means. Very late nights, weekends, everyone else last summer was having a great old time at the beach, and I was indoors working on my laptop. So that's the reality of when you start a business. But my job was fantastic, and I had a lot of opportunity to set myself up for success. And again, I worked for anthropology, and then I went to Beholden, and at the time I was I knew I wanted to start my business. It's something that has been, in the back of my mind for a long time, and I thought I was too young. I thought there were plenty of other people that could do it better than me, and I finally decided to make the leap. So in 2012, in the beginning of 2013, I made the leap, and there were plenty of things I could have done over my lunches, everything else. Here are the things I wish I had done before I left that steady paycheck. So number one, pick a name, plan for the future. At the time, I had no idea where I wanted to go. I just knew I wanted to do my own projects. Well, if you put some time and energy into thinking about where your business is going, your name can have a huge effect on that. At the time, I was freelancing and using Sharon McMullen Inc., INK, which was fine, but people realized that I was an in-house designer. They viewed me as oh, come in and work with our staff. Come in and we just won't give you benefits. That's just going back to a 9-to-5 job, and that's not what I wanted. And so I realized really quickly that the place I wanted to take my business was an agency. I wanted to hire people, I wanted to grow it to new heights, maybe sell it for $12 billion one day. These are my priorities, people. So I decided that I needed to have a studio name, because my name alone was only gonna get me so far. I could become a celebrity, that would be fantastic. I would not turn that down. But when you're thinking about long term, these are some of the questions you can ask yourself. I apologize, this is terrible resolution right now. It looks really pretty here. So in 5, 10, 25 years, what's your goal? If you want to have a beautiful little studio up in your apartment by yourself creating art, I have a friend who's doing that now, then use your name or use a small studio name and use something handcrafted in it. These are things you can think about now and plan for. Do you want employees? Do you want to sell products? If you sell products with your name, I only think Jonathan Adler or a few other people can get away with that. What happens when you retire? For instance, if you're Hilton Glazer and you are this amazing graphic designer, when he passes away, no one else can take over that studio. It's dead, it's gone. He's gonna have all these great pieces, but nobody can really continue that. So these are the things you can think about while daydreaming, while in a meeting that's terrible at work. These are the things you can think about. It took me 8 months to come up with Ink & Mortar. When you start looking for names, it's the hardest thing. People have taken everything. All the URLs are gone, all the social media is gone. It's terrible, so it'll take some time. So when you're daydreaming, when you're in the shower, these are great opportunities before you quit your day job to be able to pick a name that's gonna get you somewhere. Number 2, make it official. And I'm serious with this because I'm dealing with a client now who did not check to trademark her name. She's been in business almost 7 years and now has to change her entire identity and name because she didn't trademark it and check out that it was an LLC. These are very simple things you can do. Again, lunch break at work, you can check Who has the domains? Who has the URLs? Who has the social media? And make sure, you'll probably start out with an LLC, but like make sure it's available. So double check, do your research, get to know what's best for your business. Don't be dumb about it. I'm saying that to myself. I was dumb about it. So, and also ask for help. I'll tell you a little story about ink and mortar. So, you know, if you noticed in my logo, I have this really cool plus sign that I thought I was being really trendy with. Well, I applied for my LLC and my bank accounts and everything else with this plus sign. What no one told me, because I did not ask or do any research, is that the plus sign doesn't show up in any of your documents. So it says ink mortar on all of my documents, on my credit cards, on my business certificate. I'm so proud of it. It says Ink Mortar Design Co. Like, it makes no sense. I wish someone had been like, don't do that. Do A-N-D spelled out so people will tell you. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people say ink plus mortar. I feel so stupid. So ask around. Don't try to be trendy with like an apostrophe or anything else. It'll cause problems. And now I have to like file for a DBA, which is like multiple hundreds of dollars to just write and. It's so silly. So again, save yourself some hassle and do some research. And there's plenty of people who have probably been there before you, so feel free. You don't have to have the same business to get some help. So ask a friend, ask an aunt, you know, local bakery. Just talk about LLCs. They'll really like you. Set up your banking. So after you've set up your LLC or your S Corp or whatever is recommended for your business, you're going to want to set up your banking. And I say this with big regrets. I didn't set up my banking. So when it came tax time, I then had to go back, add up all my invoices, figure out what my expenses were. I had this big pile of receipts, and I wished that I had just separated it. And so when I finally met with my accountant, who I love, he said, yeah, if you don't separate, you're then liable. If you were to go to court, they'll ignore your LLC, which is supposed to protect you, and you are then liable for things in your personal, because it looks like you're just doing this hobby. It's not a business, it's a hobby. So I learned really quickly that you need to separate right away. And I'm talking, you can make $600 a year, separate it. Make sure it's separated from your real business. And then you can pay yourself out of that bank account. It's not like it's going away, but you have to keep it separate for taxes and liabilities, or else you'll get in trouble. So thank goodness I learned really quickly, because I was like, gotta open it. And again, my card says ink mortar, so I don't know what happened there. Get it right away. You'll need your EIN, which you'll get with your LLC. So these are kind of in order. Some of them can be switched out, but the priorities, you know, go through a checklist. And every once in a while at lunch, when you have free time, when your kids are napping, these are the times you can kind of go through this checklist and get things done. Because believe me, I've talked to other, you know, entrepreneurs, and my friends, you know, have all said the same things. Like, oh, I wish I had stood in the line at PNC instead of doing this now when people are knocking at my door ready to pay me. That's what happened. You realize your time is much more valuable when you leave your job. So business account, separate it. Even if it's dormant, have all of your new income that you're getting in freelance or whatever new projects, have it go through your business account. And that will save you so much headache in the long run. Number 4, your contracts. I'm sure with the show of hands, how many of you have done work without a contract? And probably the same amount have gotten burned by that. Oh good, I see some heads shaking now. This is a big hole that could really cripple your company. And it's important now to set it up, and there's costs associated with it and everything else, but this will protect you, because you're now the most vulnerable you're ever going to be. When you're first starting out, you're going to have very little income coming in probably. Maybe you have a lot of income, that would be ideal. But you don't want anything to come in and stop that. And so super important to get your contracts in order. And again, this is an additional fee. So if you're not making money and you need to go to a lawyer, you know, these are the things that a steady paycheck will help you pay for. So this could make or break you, especially when you're starting out. So my tip is do some research online and steal other people's. Go on and check what everybody else is doing, which is what I did, and then go to your lawyer and he can tweak it. So I found another graphic designer and then the AIGA standards, and they helped me get a terms of agreement and a proposal. And I was then able to take that to my lawyer and save probably $1,000, just because he wasn't starting from scratch. he was using this as kind of a go-to and was able to edit it accordingly. And you're gonna have to go back and update it throughout your working career and everything that changes with your business. But in the meantime, this is the perfect way. Again, these little pieces that you can kind of chip off. You won't have to pay for this when you're on your own and you no longer have a paycheck. This can come out early. Or find a friend that can do it. There's a lot of options. There's also a few people online that'll offer packages for newly established businesses. They'll help you get your LLC. They'll help look at your contracts. There's some local, like small business lawyers that can help you do that. So again, research before you jump in. I definitely wish I had done this to set up my process and test it. There's a lot of touch points when you work with clients, and you don't realize when you're suddenly the person running the entire show how many touch points there are, how often you have to contact your clients. I was shocked at how often my clients would email me. I was like, well, I was working. What are you talking about? And it had been 2 days. And you start to realize if you don't have a set process or they don't know what the next step is, they will bother you until you answer them. And that's fine. I mean, I didn't realize that that was the case. I had always had a project manager take care of this for me. So there were a lot of bumps, and I realized that in my freelance life, I had started this but not finished it and really finessed it. So what I suggest doing is thinking about all the touch points with your customers and test it out. So what I mean test is to work for free, work at a discount, do your mom's logo, do the local bakery, whatever comes your way, test your process and let people know you're testing it and they'll give you feedback. So I did this with 2 of my friends, and they're still some of my most proud projects. I loved working on them, and they were very vocal with me, and I told them, you need to tell me what I suck at, what I'm good at, where I could be better. This is my business, I want it to succeed. And they were very open about it, and it was fantastic. They were like, yeah, you don't email. And I'm like, well, what's the problem? I'm working. I've been working for 3 days on this. And so I realized really quickly I needed to let people know, hey, here's the date for when I'll next speak to you. I'm gonna work this week. I'll talk to you on Friday. Let's set up a time. So there was definitely some communication when you're working with your clients that you could be more vocal about. There's a lot of wrap-up emails, next steps, final project delivery. How do you handle that? You do not want to be dealing with this stuff when you're in big projects. I will tell you that you do not want to have anything go wrong when someone's paying you tens of thousands of dollars instead of the $500 logo for your mother-in-law that you did. These are very big projects in comparison, and this is the time to work out all the kinks when someone's kind to you. You don't want someone coming back and firing you. Number 6, start the work you want to do. When I first started my business, I really thought I wanted to do stationery. And so I tried it and I hated it. I worked for a letterpress studio, which was wonderful, but I realized I really didn't like creating work without boundaries. I love the challenge of a box and how I can push it and how I can better perfect a business. And the whole time I was planning to leave my day job to go do stationery. And had I left and made that leap without, considering what else was available or trying it out, I really would have regretted it, because all of a sudden you have to then pivot your entire business, and that becomes a problem. So start the work you want to do. Try now. If you feel like you really want to work for restaurants, go to restaurants, get discount or free work to them, test your process, and then also start the work you want to do, so that will go in your portfolio. And then, so a little disclaimer, I don't want to call clients not visionary, but sometimes they can't see past what's available to them. And you are the visionary, no matter what business you're in. So sometimes you have to handhold, and sometimes you have to show them first what you're capable of in their sector before they'll trust you. So when I had a restaurant come to me, one of my first projects, all I had were fashion retail experience from all my previous jobs and my freelance on the side, and they were like, I don't think you can handle this. And I was like, well, I design. It's not about the category. That shouldn't matter. It's very much about the work. I do photo shoots, I do styling, I can do the textures. What are you worried about? And they could not wrap their head around, but it's not a restaurant. And it's very funny how people need to see their sector. So test it out, try it, figure out what you love. And that niche will really help you in the future to get better clients. They'll trust you more. They'll really help you take it to the next level. Number 7, set up your site. I set up my ink and mortar site a year after opening. My wonderful developer is here too, and he laughed because it was my 1-year anniversary that I launched my site. I'm a perfectionist. It's my baby. This is my business, my blood, sweat, and tears. I'm paying a lot of money to have it developed. I wanted it to be perfect, and it took me a year to get it up. Do not do that, because I was missing out on work that was going to support ink and mortar and not Sharon McMullen Inc. So people were still approaching me with freelance work, in-house work, all this other stuff, and all I really wanted was for people to take me like an agency. Like, why aren't they contacting me for bigger projects? Because I was putting something out that was different to them in the world. So when you're setting up your site, it's 10 times harder when it's your own. Whether you have a portfolio site, I found it way harder to do an actual like business site when it was all that I had to do in the day. So get it up and get it working. It's much better than nothing at all. I was shocked at how many people were still giving me work on my Sharon McMullen Inc. And then when I put up the ink and mortar, I started getting the work I wanted. Just because it wasn't even the best site. I think I told Pete when I handed it over to him, I was like, I think it's okay, I don't even know, just take it, just do it. You know, it's not gonna be perfect. I even want to make changes daily, so that's okay. But getting it up, everyone will have a different opinion, you know, and the people out there really will see it and love it. It's such an internal struggle. So get it up and start the business, because you never know what's gonna come from it. Number 8, start organizing. So when I first started my business, I was a hot mess with my files. I was like, well, I'm the only one using them, so what does it matter? When I went to hire, I realized what a mess I was. I was like, oh no, this is round 1, round 2, round 3. Well, there's a lot more structuring when you're working with someone else and you're the leader. So in freelancing or in anything else, it's really, really great to start now. The biggest part that took me the longest time was the assets folder. So what I created was an assets folder that captured all the things I wanted to share with my employees or my, you know, to use on projects on a regular basis. So I'll show you some site structure. So I started organizing my assets now and my files, and this is an example file structure. So in my assets folder on the lower right-hand corner, you'll see I had my ebooks that I had downloaded, brushes, fonts, hand-drawn mock-ups. Like I said, I do a lot of ink, I do a lot of handmade pieces and stamps, and a lot of that stuff goes unused, but I can use it on other projects. So there's only so many swashes you can make. So I decided to create a hand-drawn folder, which helped us on future projects. Mock-ups, like, you know, if you have an iPhone or social media icons, I have about 50 different social media icons that I've downloaded over the years. So like now I have all styles, so I don't have to recreate them. So this will help your process flow, because what happened was I did not do this, and then I got bottlenecked. So I spent 15 minutes looking for those social icons or recreating them every time for my website, and that was such a waste of time when I could have made an assets folder. Or I would say, oh, you know, Liz, why don't we look at this book that we had worked on to, you know, my junior designer, and she'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't put it in the books folder. So it keeps everyone on task, especially if you bring in freelancers or junior designers or developers. It helps everyone stay together. And then for work in progress, you know, your client name, project name, website, I just had everything in a mishmash because it worked for me, but now I need, you know, to think big picture. When someone else is going back for that client later in 3 years, they're gonna be like, where the hell is that file? What is this? Round 2, final, dev 1? Like, it just doesn't work that way. So come up with the system now when things are neat, you're starting fresh, you don't have to worry about it. And then I also have an archive, so I don't go back to 2013 at all, it's just icky, but yeah.
I just want to know what you did for Anthropologie.
I was on their web team. So I was in retail for The Limited, Lane Bryant, La Senza, and then I came here and did Anthropologie, Beholden, and Terrain. So I've been at a lot of retail e-commerce.
Just like painting and drawing?
I bring painting and drawing to web. So I do a lot of the email graphics and the web designs, a lot of the banners, marketing, and then website construction. So it was a lot of UI, UX. It was quite a mix, which I really liked. And I think that you can see that's influenced my style very much.
Thank you.
It's bringing a mix of both. I like the digital very much, but I still don't want to get rid of my paints. So this file structure really helped me. And I do recommend, you know, while things are neat and tidy and you haven't started work, this will save you so many headaches because you're then going quickly back to your files and not worrying about, oh my God, I have this deadline I have to meet. Do it when it's simple. And the fonts saved my life. I could just send people to fonts. I'd be like, here's a link to the fonts, don't even worry about it. Do you know how many times I've exported from FontBook? And like, oh, this project was this fonts. It's terrible, I have so many folders. And now I just have the one folder. I know exactly where all my files are. And again, it just makes for a very quick workflow. Because what happens is you get bottlenecked, you get stuck in these projects, and you're like, I have no time. The last thing I want to look for is social media icons. So this will help your process quite a lot. Number 9, accounting, FreshBooks, QuickBooks, whatever. Doesn't matter. This has saved me, and I always thought it was for bigger businesses, but FreshBooks and QuickBooks are a phenomenal thing to start now for your business. And again, you can start this at lunch. I'm talking like sign up when you have your bank account, you're ready to go. What it does is you can link up your bank account to your FreshBooks, and it will track all of your expenses. So at the end of the year, I laugh at everyone when they have their big stack of receipts and they're scanning and adding, and I'm like, oh, you know what I did? I did refresh print. That's what I did for mine. Everything is in one place. It's all ready to go in this beautiful Excel file that I don't know how to use, but my accountant loves it. And it tracks your invoices, it tracks your income, and when all of a sudden you're running a business, even for, like I said, over $600 is when you have to start like accounting for your extra income, your freelance income. Even at $600, you don't remember what you did in January of the last year. You don't remember what invoices you sent out or a PayPal link. All of this is now in one big, pretty tidy package, and you can send it off, or you can just, taxes are pain-free after this. Also, need I mention more money in the pocket? Do you know how many expenses we miss when we have a big pile of receipts, or we're running around the house and we're trying to add them up? I'm really bad at math. Don't leave it up to your calculator or you at 4 a.m. on a Monster trying to or with all of your Red Bull trying to add everything up. This does it all for you, and it saved me a ton in realizing cash receipts and all those pieces. And you can track how you're doing throughout the year. It becomes a game. You're like, ooh, I did that much last month. I want to do more this month. And it becomes like a fun kind of being able to see the growth of your business rather than just being like, I think I invoiced. I don't really know. I got money this month. And then you also know how much you're liable for taxes. So again, it will save you a ton of money if you make an accident, or you forget to account for something. Yeah.
So when you use the one of the accounting software, did say you did it in the middle of the year, like June? Could you go back and put from January to June?
And that's what I did. I think I started it in April because I was like, tax season, this is terrible.
Right.
I don't want to do this again. So I started in April and I went backwards and I got all my receipts. You can plug all your receipts in there manually, and then they'll categorize them. So I could see I was spending a lot on food and drink, entertainment for my clients. Like I was taking them out and I was like, oh, I spent $50 in coffee, like whoops. So you can categorize them and see where you're spending your money too. But they let you backtrack. You can put in old invoices. You can put everything in. And what happens is I uploaded a logo and it sent it right to my clients. I like FreshBooks a lot, but my accountant likes QuickBooks a lot because it gives a lot more opportunity for growth and the next level. FreshBooks was perfect for the beginning of my business, and it's much simpler, and QuickBooks is like the next step. But if you can handle QuickBooks, do that because it's cheaper and it has a lot of capabilities. But FreshBooks is definitely the dummy-free version. Like I miss it.
I just want to add on the QuickBook. You can go back as far as you want. However, when you give it to your accountant at the end of the year, what they will do, they will close it to close the end of the year.
Yeah,
and they will send you a copy, and you have, I think, maybe 3 weeks to go back and do something with it. Because once it's closed and you fix it, next year, if you already start putting next year in, it will all get screwed up. So you have to make sure before you give to your accountant, whatever that is, could be in April, it's 98% clear.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can go backwards, sends a pretty little email to your client with a button that says pay. You can hook up your bank account, you can hook up a direct deposit, you can hook up PayPal. So it's amazing. And QuickBooks does the same thing. I'm in that now, and it gives you so many more options. So whatever fits you, check them out, but start it right now. Start it at lunch. When you have, even just a few payments from clients, it'll help you immensely to just keep track of it and to be, sipping margaritas in April rather than like, oh, I have to do all this math. It's the worst part. And number 10, save, 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 save. I didn't listen to this. I did not save. I think I maybe had $1,500 to my name, and I was in debt. I had student loans, I had a car, I had some credit card debt from college. I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. There's no time to save, I just gotta jump in. And so when I left, I did not have a buffer of money, and that really caused problems when I had bad clients and I couldn't fire them. So one client in particular was holding the final payment hostage, and that was the worst feeling. I wanted to drop these people so badly. They mistreated me, they always asked for more. I was constantly arguing with them because they would be like, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? And I'd be like, what are you talking about? You now want a database on your site? It made no sense. They were not qualified clients, I should say. But I didn't know that at the time, and I had said yes, and they gave me a decent amount of money at the time. And that last payment was the most painful payment. I had to bend over backwards to please them to get it. You never want to put yourself in that position. You want to have the power, and I would have had guts had I not needed that last payment. I would have absolutely said, these are my boundaries. This is where I'm not okay with. I can't do this extra work for you just because you need it. And instead I wound up doing it because I needed that payment really badly. You don't want to put yourself in this position. So what I recommend is saving as much as you can. You will feel and sleep so much better if you have savings before you make the leap. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got, I took a week-long class in New York with James Victoria, and he sat us down on the last day, and I was really expecting, he's a very boisterous guy, very lively, and I was expecting some you can do it, everything's good, just be creative. And he sat us down and talked about money, and I was like, this is so strange. And he said, the biggest thing I learned in all of my years of design, my 25-some years or more, he said, was that you need to live as frugally and as simply as you can so that you get the work that you want and the life you love. And that has stuck with me for so long. And I had debt, I had all this stuff, and I still made the leap. I still made it. I'm now able to pay off that debt, which is amazing. I'm able to pay off a wedding. Life is good now, but at the time, it was really hard. And I really wish I had taken the time to pay that down and to have that buffer so that I could have the guts to really go after what I wanted. So just to give you a little synopsis, if your monthly take-home pay between $1,500 and $5,000, your ideal savings is 3 to 6 months, and that hurts. I'm not gonna lie, $4,500 at the time of me leaving my job was like, oh God, no, I can't do that. But it really matters. It really will give you the gumption, the strength. You will not feel like you're stuck. There's a limbo of payments too. You don't know when your next one is coming. So a project that you scoped out for 3 months might take 6 months. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, wait, I need that payment in month 3, but I'm gonna get it in payment month 6. And so this can give you the money to kind of coast till the next month because you'll get that big payday. It's just a matter of cash flow. This will really keep you sane. And again, the more you save, the more you'll sleep because I lost a lot of hours, a lot of stress. I left a lot of bags under my eyes because of the money, and that does not need to happen. When you have the steady paycheck, put $100 away every time you get paid. Put your coffee, suddenly make coffee and put all of your coffee fund away. It will pay off tenfold, I promise. And then you can be swimming in dollar bills or whatever you want to do when you're done, if you don't wind up using it. So in conclusion, it will be the best decision you'll make, so don't be dumb about it. Prepare, don't make the mistakes I did, sleep well at night, get the clients you want, and really make a life that you're really happy with because it's very worth it. I'm finally past the hump of pain, but it was fun along the way. I'm not gonna lie, I did some great stuff, but now I feel like it's definitely paid off. So I hope that there were some good pieces in there and that you can all make the leap yourselves. Thank you.